Mississippi. We welcome now Kaitlin Bennett and Desani Hill. They are students in the Child Advocacy Studies Training Program. Kaitlin and Desani, good to have you guys. I'm going to start with just asking you what persuaded you to study this subject matter and ultimately enter this line of work.
Okay, I'll go. So for child advocacy, my advisor actually recommended it to me. I've always been somebody that wanted to work in mental health, particularly with teenagers or adults, and I am a social work major, and a lot of our classes do cover that, but it's just the furthering of the knowledge that the classes do provide for you. I wanted to know more, because when it comes to helping like child and juveniles, like you can never know enough. So I wanted to go that extra mile and wanted to get the extra information so I can be more effective in my field, and it just made sense. So now I'm here.
Great.
So like Kaitlin said, my advisor had mentioned it. At first I was like, no girl, I'm just take the social work class like it's given. But then eventually I caved in and started taking it. And looking at it, I understood, because when I took the social work classes and then I took the CAS, I'm like, oh, so that's why they do this, or that's why that happens, and it all made sense. So it was kind of a blessing in a sense, because now I understood, okay, I needed this information like they were trying to tell me.
How big a problem is this in Mississippi?
There's a huge shortage of social workers, especially in our schools. I spoke with one social worker who was primarily over the PRC district, and she had like at one point like 3 separate schools like all to herself, and it's just there's just a huge shortage. And being, especially in our middle schools and high schools, such a vulnerable time in children's lives, they're looking to trusted adults for support and social workers that have this knowledge, and unfortunately there just isn't enough of us to be there for everybody. So the next generation of social workers, it's important that we have programs like CAS, so when we go into the situations, we can be there for each student or each child and just kind of be that backbone and support for them, and it's such a vulnerable time.
If Desani, if an advocate recognizes or becomes informed of a situation where a child is being abused, do they work independently to try to address this issue, or do they work together with a team? Is it a team approach?
I 100% believe it's a team approach. It takes more than one person to get justice for the child. I definitely believe you can't just go in one-handed, because what I might see, somebody else, or what I don't see, somebody else might see. So it does take a team effort. Yeah.
You know, this problem in Mississippi, I just wonder how much of it is a result of just a large number of children who live in fatherless homes or don't have just a more traditional 2-parent home. Is that an issue that often is an environment where abuse occurs?
I feel like, personally, I feel that as long as you care about your child, a single parent home or like a co-parenting relationship, a child can grow up and be raised well if the parent is involved. Or a 2-parent household, as long as the parents are involved, it's good. Like, as long as the parents support the child, it's just, I feel it's more like a lack of resources. So a single parent may struggle to put food on the table. Maybe mom or dad is not around, single dad, single mom, and they got to spend all their time at work putting food on the table, and there's nobody to watch their baby, unfortunately, and that results in the child like having a lot of time like home alone, or maybe with somebody that isn't prepared to watch the child. They may be with grandma or grandpa, but grandma and grandpa are struggling themselves, and that constitutes, or in that environment creates a lot of abuse or neglect for that child if there's not enough resources around the parent.
Desani, as part of the curriculum, do you learn through perhaps simulation of these kinds of scenarios so that you know how to respond and react to them?
Yes, so I was in a scenario myself where I had to play the child, and it made me realize that, okay, I act this out, but, you know, kids go through this. And as the class, as the cohort in our class, we all kind of like came together as an understanding of like, okay, we need to advocate for more for these children because these are people's lives at the end of the day, and we need to be able to figure out situations or solutions that would be able to help for the child in that scenario or situation.
One quick question for both of you. Do you intend to stay in Mississippi once you complete your training?
For a while, and then eventually I want to venture out.
How about you, Kaitlin?
I plan to stay in Mississippi for a little bit, and then if another opportunity arises, I'll go for it. But my main love is Mississippi right now.
We need good folks like you to stay here in the state of Mississippi. Just making a little pitch there for you.
We do need it. We do.
Enjoy talking to you, ladies. We're coming right back, folks. It's top of the hour. It's time for Fox News and SuperTalk News. Stay with us. We're at the University of Southern Mississippi for Children's Advocacy Centers of Mississippi.